Shalom, shalom, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Trumpet's Call. I'm Ahayah. I pray that you are holding on to faith, amunah, and holding on to hope during these times. Thank you for joining me once again on the channel and for another session of our Torah Tidbit. In today's session of our Torah Tidbit, we're going to be looking at the book of Exodus, looking at Exodus chapter 3. As I was doing a little studying this week, the Most High showed me some things, and I had touched on it a bit in a video before. And so as I was studying, I wanted to just bring out to you some things that the Most High was showing me in the scriptures, and just the brilliance of who He is and how He expresses Himself to us. So when we think of the Most High in terms of how He describes Himself, we will have a clearer understanding of who He is, and we won't fall into error when we obey and abide by what He says about Himself. Okay? When we start adding things to that, that's when we get into trouble, and we don't want to do that. So we're just going to read the scriptures and allow the Most High to describe to us His nature, His character, and the name by which He desires to be known. Okay? So let's get started for today. We're going to be reading, as I stated, in Exodus chapter 3. Now, the backstory, you have Moshe, who is living with his father-in-law, Jethro. He's taking care of his sheep, and he is on the backside of the desert, somewhere near around where the Nile River would be, somewhere in that region. And he comes across a bush, and that is where we find the story. Now Moshe, Moses, kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian. And he led the flock to the backside of the desert and came to the mountain of Yahuwah, even to Horeb. And the angel of Yahuwah appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of the bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. And Moshe said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burned. What's interesting to me as I read this, that Moshe, he reasoned to himself. He said, I'm seeing something pretty spectacular here. I think I'm going to stop and turn and see what's happening with this bush. So he made a decision. He made a decision there to draw near to something that he didn't understand so that he could gain understanding. And when we're looking into the things of the Most High, it's important to make that decision, to stop and consider these things, but then allow yourself to be instructed and taught by the Most High. So Moshe was about to get a lesson. He was about to be taught some things that he didn't know before he approached unto this burning bush. So additionally, what we see in this first passage of scripture is we see the angel or the messenger of Yahuwah appearing unto Moshe in the bush in a flame of fire. Okay. And so in another passage, as we're going to read, you're going to see that this angel or this messenger of Yahuwah is described as Yahuwah himself. So we know that this messenger of the Most High is none other than his son, Yahushua HaMashiach. There are several appearances of Yahushua in pre-incarnate form before he was revealed to the world as Yahushua. And he is always described as the messenger. The word angel means messenger, the malakim or the malak, the messenger of the Most High being sent on a mission. Okay? So he is appearing in the bush. What does the bush represent? What is the bush? The bush is made of carbon. It's a carbon-based life form. And when I look up this word bush in the Hebrew, it's the word sana. And they're thinking perhaps it's a bush with thorns on it, and that this bush could be a blackberry bush. And so right off the bat, when I see this, I'm thinking, okay, this bush has got to be representative of a group of people, perhaps a group of melanated people that have dark berries, that produce dark fruit. So it made me think that perhaps this bush is representative of the nation of Yasharal, and that the Ruach, the presence, the messenger of the Most High, dwells and abides on this bush, so that the bush burns with fire, but it's not being consumed. It's being burnt. Perhaps it's being burnt because it's being judged. Perhaps it's being burnt because it's just burning with a flame of fire of the presence of the Most High. But either way, the bush is burning, but it's not being consumed. Okay? And Masha sees these things and he wants to know what they mean. Continuing. And when Yahuwah saw that he turned aside to see, Yahuwah called unto him out of the midst of the bush and said, Masha, Masha, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here I am. Pausing here. So we see that Yahuwah, which is the Hebrew word for might, power, mighty one. Okay? Our Father is our power. He is our might. He is the one that we bow down to. He's the one that we look to. He is our Yahuwah. Okay? The equivalent that people use for this word Yahuwah is the word Elohim. And we know that the word Elohim is based on the Canaanite language and the worship of the false deity El. Okay? So any reference in scripture to El is a reference to the Canaanite Phoenician deities. So his name or his title would not be Elohim, it would be Yahuwah. Okay? So when Yahuwah saw that Masha turned aside, he called unto him out of the bush. Now, I thought in the previous passage we read that it was the Malachim, or the angel of the Most High, that was in the bush. So which is it? Is it the angel of the Most High in the bush, or is it the Most High in the bush? Which is it? It's both. The Father sends the Son on his missions. And remember, when Messiah came to the earth, he says, I only do the things that the Father tells me to do, that I see him doing. I only say the things that he tells me to say. So when the Father wants to deliver a message to an individual, he'll oftentimes send his Son to be his mouthpiece, his right hand, and to do his actions in the world. So to have Messiah be in the bush, the angel or the messenger of the Most High, is to have the Most High in the bush. Okay? So he's calling unto Masha, and he says, when he saw that he drew near, that he turned aside, and the Father, brothers and sisters, is always looking, he's always watching us to see whether or not we will disrupt our schedule, whether we will disrupt our day and draw near unto him when he shows us things that require further inspection. When you see something like this, would you have stopped? Would you have stopped to see, or would you have said, I'm busy, I've got work to do, I don't have time. I don't have time to look at this. I'll look at it later. How many times has it been that the Father desires to reveal things to us and show us things, but we don't have time to turn aside and see this great sight that the Father is attempting to show us? Let us be warned that there are things, probably the answers and wisdom and insight that you need, that may require you to turn aside and see what the Father is showing you. But let's continue. And he said, Draw not nigh hither, put off thy shoes from thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is holy, Kadosh ground. Moreover, he said, I am the Yahuwah of thy father, the Yahuwah of Abraham, the Yahuwah of Yitzhak, and the Yahuwah of Jacob, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Masha, Moses, hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon Yahuwah. Once again, Messiah, the angel or Malach or the messenger of the Most High, is in the bush. And if he's in the bush, the Father's in the bush, because he, Messiah, is the express image and person of the Father. So when you see the Son, you see the Father. And Masha was afraid to look upon Yahuwah because of his brilliance and because of his might. So he's being told here, take your shoes off. You're standing on Kadosh, holy ground. Take your shoes off. And then he introduces himself. He's saying, I am your Yahuwah. I am your power. I am the power of your ancestors, of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I am their power. I am their might. And I'm introducing myself to you. I'm coming to you because, frankly, I've got a mission for you. I've got a mission. So we're going to learn about that in our next passage. And Yahuwah said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt, and I have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows, and I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of that land unto a good land, and a large, and unto a land flowing with milk and honey, unto the place of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites. So the Most High right here is telling us something very important, very profound. Well, everything he tells us is important and profound, but we're going to just hone in on this right now. Yahuwah said, I have seen the affliction of my people in Egypt. Brothers and sisters, he sees us. He saw us then, and he sees us now. He sees the suffering. He sees the pain. And he told Moses, I have seen the affliction of my people in Egypt. And what's more, he says, I have heard their cry. I have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, and I know their sorrows. So this is what we see. The Father says, I have seen, I have heard, and I know. I have seen your sorrow, your pain, your affliction. I have heard your cry, your wails, your mourning, your tears. And I know your sorrow. I am touched with the feeling of your infirmity. I know what you're feeling. I know what you're going through. And as a result, I am come down to deliver you and bring you home, bring you into a good land. I am come down to deliver you myself with my own right hand through my servant, Yahushua, my son, my messenger. I am come down to deliver and to save and to bring you out. Continuing. Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Yasharal is come unto me, and I have also seen the oppression wherewith the Egyptians oppressed them. Come now therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Yasharal, out of Egypt. Okay, we're going to pause here for a second. So what we see here is the Most High speaking to Moshe and telling him, I have seen your oppression. I have seen the oppression of my people as they languish in Egypt. And brothers and sisters, he sees the oppression that we're experiencing as we have been scattered all over the world. Yes, we were scattered because of our sins. There is no doubt. But he sees the mistreatment. He sees the oppression. He sees the persecution. He sees it. And he says, I have heard their cry. So don't hold back your cries. Don't hold back your tears. Don't hold back your weeping and a wailing and a moaning. Don't hold it back. Allow the sound of your pain to enter into the ear of Yahuwah of Sabaoth. Allow it to enter into his ear, into his hearing, because he's waiting, listening for that certain sound when Judah cries out, when Judah mourns, when Judah sings those old songs of Zion. The Most High will hear. He says, Moshe, I'm going to send you to Pharaoh so that you can bring my people out. And Moshe said unto Yahuwah, Behold, when I come unto the children of Yasharal and say unto them, The Yahuwah of your fathers hath sent me unto you, and they say to me, What is his name? What shall I say unto them? So he knows our people, we could be stiff-necked and hard-hearted and, you got to prove it to me. I am Missouri. You got to show me. Okay. So he's saying, when I come to them, who am I going to say is telling me to come and deliver them? They're going to want to know. They're not going to just listen to me. They're going to say, what's his name? What shall I say unto them? And Yahuwah said unto Moses, Moshe, I am that I am. Now, in the Hebrew, this is rendered Ahayah, Asher, Ahayah. I am that I am. I will be what I will be. I breathe, therefore I am, I breathe. It is an indication of such vastness that you can't take this and quantify it and say that this is a name, because it is not a name. The Most High is describing himself to Moses, to Masha. What he's saying is, you want me to give you a name for myself? You want me to name myself and limit myself? You can't name that which is unnameable. I can't give myself a name. The best I can do for you, Masha, is describe myself, describe my qualities, describe my eternality and my power and my might and my splendor and my magnificence. The best I can do is describe myself to you, because you can't name me. There aren't enough words in all the languages that exist to be able to name me, but I can describe myself to you. Okay? And so this is what we're seeing. He's saying, I am that I am. I am breath. I am life. I am existence. I am whatever it is I want to be. That's what I am. Okay? That's what I am. So in this, the Father is describing himself, because you cannot name the unnameable. The minute, brothers and sisters, you name something, you limit it. You can't limit the Most High. You can't say this is his name and that's all he is. You can't, because you limit him. Case in point, a crayon. Imagine that you're holding a crayon, and the person that you're holding the crayon, who wants to see that crayon, or you're describing this crayon, can't see the crayon, but they know that you're holding a crayon. And so you're saying, I hold this crayon in my hand. Okay? And that's all you've said. I hold this crayon. To the person who can't see the crayon, they're imagining the crayon. Perhaps they're imagining a green crayon, or a red crayon, or a yellow crayon. Or perhaps they're imagining a crayon with multiple colors, or with stripes, or with polka dots. They could be imagining whatever they want to imagine of this crayon, as long as they just know that you're holding a crayon and you haven't labeled it, named it. The minute you say, I'm holding a brown crayon, all other possibilities of what this crayon could be disappear. They vanish, because you have named that crayon, you have labeled it, and you have limited it. It's brown. Now, it could be light brown, it could be medium brown, it could be dark brown, but it's brown. Okay? It can't be yellow, because it's brown. It can't be polka dotted and stripes, because it's brown. You have limited it, and you have made it finite. And that is what would happen to the Most High. If he were to give himself a name and say, this is my name, he would make that which is infinite finite. That which is eternal, that which cannot be named, that which cannot be quantified, and said, this is it and that's all. You can't do that. It's an impossibility. So the Father describes himself to Masha. Okay? And then he goes on to say, thus shalt thou say unto the children of Yasharal, I am. Ahayah had sent me unto you. So some people look at that and they say, okay, that's his name. That is the way he's describing himself. His name is Ahayah. Ahayah means I am. True. Absolutely true. And he is having a conversation with Masha, and he is speaking of himself in the first person. He's saying, you want me to give myself a name? I can't do that. I am existence. You tell the children of Yasharal, existence has sent me unto you. Okay? That's essentially what he's saying to Masha. But he doesn't end there. He doesn't end there in terms of giving Masha a name or a description to give to the children of Yasharal. He goes on. Let's see what he says in terms of how to describe himself to the children of Yasharal. Verse 15. And Yahuwah said, moreover, unto Masha, thus shalt thou say unto the children of Yasharal. Okay, so what he's doing here is he's summarizing. He said, we just had a conversation. Let me summarize for you. I'm summarizing. I'm saying to you, when you go to the children of Yasharal who are being enslaved right now, and they ask who sent you, I want you to tell them this. Tell them, thou shalt say unto the children of Yasharal, Yahuwah. Y-H-U-H. That is the way it is rendered in the scriptures. Yod-He-Uah-He. Okay? There's controversy about that W. I've already done a lesson on that the U predated the W and the V, and that this should read Yod-He-Uah-He. Yad-Ha-Uah-Ha. Okay? Yahuwah. Yahuwah, the Yahuwah of your fathers, the Yahuwah of Abraham, the Yahuwah of Yitzhak, the Yahuwah of Jacob, has sent me unto you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial unto all generations. So the Father is essentially telling Masha, I cannot name myself, but I will give you a descriptor to give unto the nation of Yasharal. And this is going to be a memorial between me and them. Because when I deliver you from Pharaoh and from his army, and when I bring you out to bring you into the land of promise, I'm going to be known by a particular designation. The name in which I'm going to give you is going to be a description and a memorial of my ability to save you, my ability to bring you out of bondage. And when you think of this name, you will associate this name with me and my power and my might and my hand of deliverance. Okay? What is the name? The name is Yahuwah. And what does the name Yahuwah mean? What does it mean? The Father took the word Ahayah, okay, and he conjugated it. That's what he did. Remember, he's having a conversation with Moshe in terms of I am, I am. He's speaking of himself in the first person. This word Yod-He-Uah-He is essentially the Father taking Ahayah and conjugating it. He added a Yod at the beginning. Okay? So he conjugates this word and it becomes he is. So he said, I am, and then he said, you tell the children of Israel, the children of Yasharal, when they want to know who sent you, he is sent you. Do you see what he did, brothers and sisters? He said, he is. So our response, our proper response to the Most High when he says, Ahayah, I am, is he is. It's inappropriate to call him Ahayah because Ahayah means I am. And so when you're calling upon the Most High, you're calling upon him as if you're saying, I am, like I am, not he is. The appropriate response is, Father, he is. Deliverer, he is. Provider, he is. Life giver, he is. Sustainer, he is. Burden bearer, he is. The one who's able to save me from every bit of trouble that I find myself in, he is. So when we call upon his name, when we say Yahuwah, we are saying he is. And that is how he has told us to describe him. And when we say he is, there is a whole host of infinitesimal possibilities that comes after he is, ... He is whatever it is that you need. He is whatever it is he will be. That's what he is. And that is how he is describing himself. And he is saying that this name, Yahuwah, he is a memorial unto our nation for all generations. So when we call upon the name Yahuwah, when we call upon his name, the name that he told us to call him, which isn't a proper name, it's a descriptive title. It's a description of what he is. And what it indicates is vastness, eternality, power, might, splendor, breath, life, health, deliverance, salvation. I could go on and on and on. Hallelujah. He is all of that and so much more. When we call upon his name, when we call upon the name that he designates to himself, we are saying, Father, Most High, you are. Father, Most High, I look to you. You are my power. You are my might. We are saying, he is, in response to his declaration of I am. He says I am, we say he is. We stand in agreement with him. It's a powerful name, and it's a powerful act of humility to call him what he says to call him. And to call him anything else is to not act in obedience toward him. We need to humble ourselves before him and do what he has told us to do. Okay? There is too much disagreement in the nation about his name. Let us humble ourselves and call him by what he has told us to call him. We've got to come on one accord, brothers and sisters. When you say Yahuwah, Yahuwah, not only are you speaking the breath of life, not only are you speaking the breath of life over your circumstances, but you are coming into agreement with the Father. He says, I am. You say, he is. So, I urge you, all of you, that if you still have doubt about what the Father's name is, get into his presence. And if the leaders won't call for a fast, you go on one. If you don't know, if you're in doubt, if you're just not sure, fast before the Most High and ask him to reveal himself, ask him to reveal his name, and he will be faithful He will be faithful to do these things. He is Yahuwah, Most High. So I thank you, brothers and sisters, for joining me once again on the channel and for another session of our Torah Tidbit. This has been a really wonderful one, as the Most High is showing us that to call him by the name that he has decreed and declared, we come into agreement with him, saying unto him, You are, Father. You are our might. You are our power. And we receive what you've given to us. He says, I am. We say, He is. May the Most High Yahuwah Baruch and keep you, brothers and sisters. May he make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. And may he lift up his countenance upon us and grant us shalom, shalom, peace, today and every day. And may he hear our cries. May he see our affliction. And may he feel and understand and be touched with the feeling of our infirmities and our sorrow. And may he come himself with his mighty right hand to bring us deliverance from Egypt. And may he continue to speak to our hearts and encourage us as he tells the nations, Let my people go, that they may worship me. Shalom and shalom, brothers and sisters.